Hi, and welcome to this episode of Connecting Women Who Break Barriers. I'm your host, Aradhana, and it's my pleasure to have you on here, whether you're returning or you're new to this podcast. The intent of this podcast is really to help you feel empowered, to help you lean into love, compassion, kindness, and to know that you are really worthy of whatever it is that you desire. So, in this solo episode, we're going to talk about one of the key ways to create the change that you truly desire. And it starts off with self acceptance. When we are willing to accept ourselves exactly as we are, things start to shift from the inside out. And what I mean by that is your body starts to feel safe, taken care of, and also loved. However, when we're criticizing ourselves endlessly, our body starts to go into a lot of a fight or flight mode because it's thinking that we're not safe. It's thinking that we might be putting ourselves in a place of danger. And it also feels like it doesn't know what we're going to do next. So it starts to tell you through actions and through different ways to go back into defaulting to how you've been in the past. And that's totally okay. So, as I said, we are leaning into self acceptance today. And the main reason is because when we try and make some changes, a lot of the times that comes from a place of not feeling like we're good enough, feeling like we're broken, or that something within us needs to be fixed because it's not perfect. So I want to help you change that narrative. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. However, there is an opportunity for you to grow, for you to learn, and for you to create a different life experience than what you have today. So when your body starts to default or your mind starts to take you back to how you've done things in the past, just let it be. We're going to work on rewiring and reprogramming your mind a little bit later. So, why self acceptance is really important to help you on this healing journey is because when we are willing to accept who we are for who we actually start to shed layers and jumpers and jackets of things that we've been holding on to. We start to shed everything in a way where it no longer actually holds power over us. And when something external holds power over us, that's when we start to think with our mind. That's when we start to lean into comparison. We start to lean into conflict, resolution, and defensiveness. But if you're willing to not go down that path, if you're willing to accept people for who they are and yourself for who you are, you'll actually realize you won't have your defensiveness up anymore. You won't necessarily try and justify your actions, and you won't be bothered about judging yourself or others either. And when you accept yourself, that means you accept the journey of life that you've had so far. That means you accept yourself, how you look, what your nationality is, what your race is, all of those things no longer play into the part of who you are, because who you are is perfect in every single way. Whatever you've experienced might have been challenging, but it's also brought you to here. I'm sure that it's also taught you things like kindness and compassion, and if they haven't been something at the forefront of your mind, let's start working on them today. Because when we lean into self acceptance, we actually no longer try and justify the actions that we've taken to this day. We no longer compare ourselves to others, and we no longer feel the need to actually seek external validation. When you accept yourself exactly as you are, what you do instead is focus on the good that you have in your life. You focus on the good in others, and you focus on creating more amazing things in your life. You focus on what is actually in your control, and you're no longer scared about what might happen in the future because you know that you've got your own back. And that's the most important thing. I want you to start having your own back. I want your inner child and you to feel so strong and so positive that you will be safe no matter what is thrown your way, because we know life has its ups and downs. However, when we have our own back, we know that anything that comes our way, we can face it. We know that on the other side of that challenge is a lesson or a blessing that we will eventually get to hear about, we will be able to face into, and we will actually start to see it that way as well. So when you start to think about self acceptance, what actually comes up for you? What does self acceptance actually look like for you? Doesn't mean that you accept the experiences that you've had in your life so far. Doesn't mean that you accept your living circumstances on your career path. Doesn't mean that you accept the relationships that you have in your life and the way that they are today. I would suggest yes, but just momentarily. Rather than trying to change the whole world in 1 minute, when we start off with self acceptance, what we're allowing ourselves to do next is think about how we want all of these areas in our life to be in future. If, as an example, when we're talking about a home environment, if it isn't an environment that you feel amazing in and you have the opportunity to change it, when you're moving from a place of accepting it as it is today and working on changing it, whether it's moving to a new home, a new city, or even just rearranging your furniture and shifting the energy within your home, might be just what you needed. So, anything that starts off from a place of self acceptance allows you to create a change that is going to take you on to a more positive path. And that's when we talk about positivity, that's exactly what I mean. Positive mindset and positive way of living doesn't mean that you're not going to face challenges in life. But what it actually means is that you're willing to see everything that happens in your life as a glass half full scenario, rather than feeling like you're a victim to your past, present, and even to your future. So, let's start off with self acceptance of yourself. So, as I mentioned, what came up for you when I asked you that question? What is something that you haven't accepted about yourself yet? And are you willing to be courageous, brave, and bold today to actually see yourself in the mirror, see the amazing person that you really truly are, and accept that one thing that you haven't been able to accept yet? If it's something like you're not as far as you wanted to be in your career, you don't have the family life that you wanted, or your health isn't at the level that you wanted it to be, remember all of these things we can slowly work on changing together. When you accept them, though, you allow yourself to also move into a space of self reflection, of self compassion. Sometimes we're in a circumstance that doesn't necessarily feel amazing. And again, when we lean into self acceptance about that experience, we can see it a little bit differently. However, if you're not in that frame of mind, it's very easy to think about things the way you have in the past. Again, your nervous system and your body is trying to keep you safe. So, if something that you've experienced in the past happens again, it's going to say to you, hang on, last time when that happened, I did A, B, C, D. And I was okay. I'm going to do A, B, C, D again today. But when we come to a place of self acceptance and, okay, my approach to something in the past was A, B, C, D, the outcome that it gave me wasn't exactly the outcome that I wanted. And you have that self reflection as well at that point in time. Next time, you're able to approach the same situation a little bit differently. As I mentioned, if there's a part of your life that you want to start creating a positive change in, or a change in any way, when you start to accept that situation for what it is and for all the blessings and lessons that it's given you to date, you've got the power in your hands. You can finally do something about it. And while you're working on that change that you really desire, the power within your hands becomes stronger and stronger. So, in the situation of myself, the part that I have been struggling to accept is that I really want to be a coach full time. And I know that my desire to help other people only gets stronger every single day. But I also know that for a small period of time, working full time or working elsewhere is also necessary. So rather than waking up Monday to Friday when I've also got a full time job to do and feeling dread about my job, I have come to a place of acceptance of my situation and of understanding that having that job is actually giving me the power to create this content. It's giving me the funding, it's giving me a roof over my head, it's giving me different life experiences that just make my own life journey even stronger and a lot more fruitful. And I've now come to a place of acceptance that me working as a coach full time is my beautiful dream, and helping others again is a beautiful dream that I have. And that too will happen in its own time. So rather than pushing against the wall and thinking, my life's a little bit tough right now because I'm not doing exactly what I want to do, I've come to accept all the positive things that I'm getting from working where I am as well. So I get to connect with people, I get to share my coaching experience with them, and I get to really support them in whatever they're going through. So again, every single thing can be seen with a silver lining, or every single thing can be seen with a blessing if we're willing to see it that way and to choose those moments in our life that just don't feel absolutely amazing. When we accept things for what they are rather than pushing against the grain and trying to control everything because we want it differently, we actually give ourselves so much more power back. Are you willing to start accepting yourself and your circumstances, whatever they may be, one day at a time? What is it that you can accept about yourself today, and then repeat again the day after, and continue repeating that every single day until you really, really wholly accept yourself exactly as you are? And I know that sounds like it's unachievable. It sounds a little bit scary, and it might even sound unrealistic. But I promise you it's not unrealistic, and I promise you it's actually doable, because when you start to lean into self-love, self-compassion, kindness, and self-acceptance, you'll realize that there is actually no reason for you not to accept yourself and your journey so far. Every single thing that's happened is what's made you you. And even if you don't love yourself yet, there are a lot of people that do. So if you are still seeking some external validation, ask others what they love about you. Ask others what they see as your strengths. And even if you're bold enough, ask what they think your weaknesses are. Doing this self reflection will also allow you to accept your nuances, the things that make you unique, and the things that are actually your most beautiful gift is what I want you to embrace. If no one else accepts you for who you are, then it's even more important for you to start accepting yourself exactly as you are. And again, through that acceptance, through that self reflection, the parts of you that you don't necessarily love, and that's okay for right this minute because I do want you to love all of them in future. Those parts, you have an opportunity to start working on them. But you can only start working on them when you start off with a baseline or a foundation of, this is who I am, this is how I am, the things that I love about myself, and these are the things that I would like to change. That self reflection and acceptance is what will give you the strength to start creating the small positive changes that you truly desire. I hope this resonates with you. Please share, like, and subscribe this podcast with anyone who you feel would benefit from it. I am offering 5 new clients a 45-minute session to really dig into where they are not leaning into self-acceptance. So if you feel that that's something that you like and that resonates with you, please send me a DM or send me an email and say, I'm ready to accept myself. Can you help me on that journey? And I'd love to share the tips and the tools that I use as a mindset coach, as a yoga teacher, and also show you how embarking on this journey is going to be the most empowering thing that you've done for yourself. Because to lean into a confident version of yourself, to feel confident from inside out, the first step is accepting yourself exactly as you are today. I know that I love you. I know that your friends and family love you exactly as you are. And now it's time for you to love yourself as well. Until next time, take care and stay safe.